Horticulture, GrayBoxx Technologies. We're here today to do something a little different. Let's see if we can't get our 3D printer in view. And there we go. I don't know why it's sideways on the screen. There we go. Okay, sideways. So there's Baby Yoda. And this is Test Cat. It comes with the printer. This is our 3D printer. We're actually going to start a printout. See if we can't get it in focus. Maybe not. But if not, we're going to start a Star Wars 8-piece chess set printout. So we're going to hit the print button and then see if it will start printing the Star Wars pawns. So it should come full now, hopefully. Let's wait for the bed to heat up. As soon as the bed gets to the proper temperature, got about another 6-8 degrees to go. Let's see if it'll. It's heating now. So we're just going to hold up a minute. Okay, I'm waiting for another 4 degrees and it should start up. I'm going to do a few other things while this is waiting. And primarily, I'm going to go and pull some files down. And we're going to show you a couple of programs. One's called Blender, one's called CUDA. And show you how to. I'm not going to go step by step this time. We're just going to kind of do some cursory looks at the. Looks like we are at temperature. So the program hopefully should start. Drop back down again. Start to print. There we go. Okay, we just kicked in. Found we got the right temperature. It's going to do center on the base plate. It's going to tap the base plate twice. And go the other direction, tap the base plate twice. And then the other corner. Then it's going to go around the plate in a circular fashion. And then where the limits are, make sure there's no obstructions. And then it's going to actually start laying down filament, which it's doing now. Okay, so while that's starting, I don't like the pad just laying down, but so some of these look a little better. I was trying to lay down 8 of them, and some of them really light. We'll come back to that. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go up to a website and go grab some characters. And what I like to do is that there's a website called Thingiverse. So let's see if we actually got this thing started. So it's recording. So let's go to our standard this Brother Culture GrayBoxx Technologies in association with Mount Sinai Junior Academy. And we're going to be doing 3D printing today. Kind of keep an eye on the printer as it goes along, make sure it doesn't jam. We started one last night in a jam, and it was just printing in the air. So we've got to kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, so as it's laying down the base pads for the Star Wars pawns, I'm making this for my son, Henri, sometimes called Reeves, or Rebus, and we'll see how that's going to turn out. We'll keep going back and forth to it. So let's go and just kind of see what the pads look like. It's just laid down, so it's not going to show you anything. Let's see. So it's kind of laying down the pads now. And this will probably be, I would say an hour, could be 9, 10 hour print. But hopefully nothing screws up in the meantime. So let's go to our website and to Thingiverse. Okay, and I'm going to download a Pikachu for the pubs. So let's see if we can get that file downloaded. Okay, so we're going to download all the files for the Pikachu. And we're going to do a save as. And I'm going to put those into my 3D print folder. Looks like I already downloaded the Pikachu. Again, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the filament because I left the one part that is normally in the side at the school if I don't want it to jam. Okay. And we're doing good. Looks like it's laying down pads. And it's going to keep layering and layering until it gets all the way up. Okay, so once the Pikachu is saved, like I said, I saved it a second ago, so I'm going to cancel out of here. And then I'm going to cancel out of the download. You would normally go ahead and download it. And then once you get the download complete, you're going to open that folder up. And it's a zip file. So I don't really want a zip file, I want an actual folder. So I'm going to go and click on the Pikachu folder and extract all. And I'm going to extract it right here. Okay, and then because the file cannot work with zip files. So once I got the file unzipped, I'm going to go back to my 3D print and then get rid of, hopefully, the Pikachu zip file, because I don't need that, because that's now just duplicate space. So once I've done that, I'm going to go into my Blender program. Let's go see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to do a file. And that's the Leia, a princess. I think she's considered the king in the Star Wars chest. So I'm going to do a file. Let's see, is there a close? What I can do is I can just delete this object because I'm not going to do anything with it. So I'm going to do a file. Open files. I want to do a don't save. So I want to go up into my parent directory, down to the 3D objects, I know that's in my 3D folder. Then my 3D print is where I keep stuff at. So I'm going to grab the Pikachu folder, open it, and there's files within there. And let's see, Blender. I didn't tell it what type of file I wanted to open. So let me cancel out of here. Because I probably need a 3MF file. But let me go and use another program called CUDA, or I'll start Cura. And this is where I've done the Star Wars. So I'm going to do a file, and then a new project. And let's see, are you sure you want to start a new project with Clear the Plate? And I've already saved all of those. So I want to now do a file. I always try to let you know what I'm doing. Do an open files, and hopefully I'll go up a level, because I want to go to my 3D print. I want to go to my Pikachu files, and the Pikachu, that's a STL file, which stands for stereolithography, and it's loading that now. And when it finishes, I should see Pikachu. All right. That's going to be a pretty big, fat Pikachu, because this is the area that it has to be to fit in. So I'm going to select that object. Now see these arrows. So I'm going to go in the X direction, and then get Pikachu inside of the print area. And hopefully he will go yellow. Yes. So that means that he fits within the volume. It's going to be pretty big. So it'll be a little bigger than Yoda. Okay, and which means that he's not bigger than the area that I can print in. So let's get him a little more in the center. Okay, we're still good. Okay, and this bottom part is a plate that they will print him on. Okay, so now once we've done that, all we have to do now is do a file, and then save as, because we need to have a G-code file. So we're going to go and select our save as type, and then we're going to make it a G-code. That's the printable code. Why they call it G-code? Probably graphics code. But once we do the G-code, and then we're going to get the MDM part out of the way, and then just have it just say Pikachu. Okay, and okay, Pikachu, and now we're going to do a save. And that's really all it is to it. Basically, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to save this as, X out of here, as a STL, which is stereo. What's that? Okay. Okay, we'll just, okay, she has, okay, what time does the plane take off? The plane takes off at 2, so we need to leave here at 12. Huh? 10:30. Okay. Well, okay, I'm in the middle of doing. I'm in the middle of making a video. Thank you. But that could have waited. I'm sorry. Okay, so all right, so we'll get you there at the airport, because you don't have the bag to check, right? Okay, so we'll get you there at the airport. When I finish this, just tell me you need to be at the airport. Okay, all right. Well, make sure it's 2 hours before. Okay. I sat in the airport for almost 6 hours for what's the name, because she got the time wrong. Okay, but you're good. You tell me what time you need me to get you there, and I'll get you there. So the pads are building up now. See the 8 pads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's going to keep building up pads until it's done, and then it's going to start to actually build each individual character on there. But let's save Pikachu as an STL file, so we can do some things if we do that. So we'll do a save as, and then we're going to select the drop down, and then get an STL. Let's do the binary STL. Okay, and then save that in the 3D print. We can go ahead and put that back into the Pokemon, because that should not. But it says that's already an STL file, so why couldn't I open it? That's an interesting question. Cancel. Yeah, I should have been able to open the Pikachu in Blender, and I'm just going to go back and check to see why. So files, okay, open, or maybe it's an import. Aha, let's see. So we're going to import. See, every program takes a different file type, and STL may not be its standard file type. So we're going to go upper level for the Star Wars, and we're going to go up another level to get to the Pikachu, and files, and buy Pikachu STL. Then we're going to import the STL, so it should be hopefully loading. There we go. It's not responding. That means that it's a big file that it has to load. And let's see if it's loaded. Let's see. Let's see if we can just move around. Let's see, can we zoom out? There's a view. Okay. Frame selected. Cameras. And that now it's just really just finding the object that's in here. Okay, so let's see if we can't move it in the X or Y direction. Ah, there we go. It was still loading. Okay, so now let's do a scale. And then scale it to make it smaller so we can see it. I can see some stuff. Looks like it's way, way, way off. What I need to do is to find something that tells me how to put it inside of the view. Let's see, frame selected, play animation. Okay, this was not working as well. Pikachu's not working as well in here. So let's just go get the other one that I know works well. So we're not going to close this one, but let's open. Okay, we're not going to save this guy. Let's just go get the Star Wars. So up, 3D objects, print 3D, Star Wars chess set files, and we got to do import. Cancel. File. Import. Stereolithography. Pikachu. Oh, we don't want Pikachu. That's the problem. Let's see. We want to go up. But normally what I do is that I play around with these before I start a video. But this was not a, let's see, the layer's really, really big. The pawn was a pretty good size. Pawn, and import. Maybe I should have selected this object. Oh, okay, so what I can do is I can go Star Wars and see if I hit the delete key to get rid of that guy. Okay. What I want to do is to get rid of the Star Wars character. You would think you hit the delete key that would work, but that didn't. Okay. Okay, there we go. We're doing something. But let's scale it. Let's scale. Let's scale it. Okay, alright. And now we can see it. Okay. And this is Pikachu. So let's go ahead and move it. Try moving it. Select it. Okay. And we should be able to rotate it. See what he looks like. This one. Okay. And so that's our Pikachu. So now we're able to use two programs, Blender, and we can do quite a few things, but I'm not a Blender expert. I know just enough to be dangerous in this program, so I can move things around, I can scale it. There's a program to create donuts, and let's see where we are in our video. Not too sure why my display. Maybe because I gotta hit the display to see it go. Let's see where it is. Yeah, let's go back to our. Let's see it's upside down. And if we get a little closer, we can see those donuts being built up. Those are the base plates for each one of the Star Wars pawns. And then we've got to take a little putty knife to get those off of there. And that's going to be a horrendous job. But I think it's probably best to, let's see, to print. And we can see the status. If we get past that 200 box, it's 3 boxes of equal size. So that means that each one's a third. So we're not even at 33 and a third percent. So we're probably at 1 or 2%, but that's okay. Looks like the temperature is holding at 200. The base plate should be at 60, and it's at 54. And the speed is 1 times. So these are kind of like irregular, but I don't see a problem. So we're going to continue to print as long as we can. Okay, and so the next thing after we have done our I don't know if I can do anything more within Blender. But Blender is where you can actually like puff things out, push things in, extend his arm, give him little fingers, flatten things out. Another program that we use. Okay, let's go out of here. Okay, and see, I think we did the G code already for Pikachu. So let's go in our 3D print and then make sure we have a Pikachu G code, which we do. And then we've got a Yoda P code, and then the Star Wars 8-piece chess set code. So we're going to basically move those over to a the F drive, which is the one that the thing that fits inside of the printer. Okay, on the side. Okay, so let's go one more program, and let's see if we can find it real quick. So we're going to go look for open SCD, and I forget what that stands for. We'll figure it out later and give it to you. Okay, so what we want to do is that I was working with probably Andre 9 file, so I'm going to open that one. And it's kind of a nice thing to play with. What I wanted to do was to have a way to go into, let's see, yeah, there's our zoom. Okay, there's 3 objects in here, and 2 of these objects was to hold my phone on my front panel of my car so that they wouldn't fall off, and it kind of jiggles back and forth. I kind of lay it on the dashboard, and by laying it on the dashboard, there's a knob for the air conditioner, and there's a knob for the fan, and then there's a knob for the radio volume control. So I basically sit it between these. So I said, oh, let me see if I can create a panel. But I had to go get the dimensions, and I think these dimensions are bigger than what this printer will handle. Maybe if I stand it up, but we'll work that later. So we'll try to print a smaller one and kind of bring it into Blender and see what happens. But you actually almost like software, you write code for this. And so if I wanted to create another cube, what all I have to do is just find my cube and then translate it away from the original cube. Make sure that tangle back there. It looks good so far. And so what you can do is let me just get rid of these 2 gray ones real quick, and you'll see that I'll just do the opposite of adding, is to comment these out. Okay. So if I didn't want that gray cube to appear, then I would delete this cube here. Okay. And then get rid of the cube. I need the ending box and the ending cube and the semicolon. Put this on a separate line. Okay, now if I then comment this cube out and then tell it to an F6 to render the F5 to render this, then one of those gray cubes will go away. Okay, so if I want to put that cube there, if it wasn't there, then I would tell it where I wanted that cube at. In this case, the translate tells it that I'm going to translate it at the 0x. Gray is Y. Okay, and then Z is the up and down. And so if I uncomment that and then function key F5, it will put it back. And then if I wanted, but those are actually being subtracted, so there's a difference going on here. So basically I told it where the high was for the purple and the gray, and then I wanted to echo that when it's running that this is an execution. Let's see, remember I always have that print, and I want to say that where's my echo? Echo should be at the top somewhere. Okay, so Andre 9 in execution. Okay, version 9. Okay, I'm running this. This is actually a program, whereas some of the other things you actually use the mouse to create these objects. And this is nice if you got things that are basically objects. So I'm going to go in, and those objects are being subtracted. So let me see if I can find my first cube, and that's orange. Okay, and then I'm going to create a cylinder, and there should be a difference. Okay. I think later on, because I want to be able to subtract these two out, and I may have deleted that code. This is like another version where I just wanted to probably play around a bit. But this there's a difference. Okay, so I need to uncomment the difference, and then uncomment. There's going to be an error down here, so I need to uncomment the ending. And then now if I do a control 6, it should re-render that, hopefully with holes. And so now that I first created this square, or it's actually a cube, if you can see, a little laid on the side, okay, and it's got a little thickness, and then those little bars were supposed to hold the phone from falling over, okay, and then they've got thickness, and then the cylinders, which are basically holes, and I've said to cut those away, so you can actually shape stuff. So that's basically it. And then I'm not going to save this, but you would do a file, export, and we know what format we're going to export it as. That's right, that's STL, which is our stereolithography. So hopefully, if I've got let's go ahead and export that as a stereolithography. Okay, and let's see where that's going to go at. So that's going to go to my documents, but what I want to put that at is that I want to go to higher than my desktop, to the Andre, let's see, the 3D objects, okay, and then print 3D, and then call it 9. So let's just save that there, and then let's go into our Blender and see if we can't get rid of Pokemon. See, don't think we can. Oh yeah, we got able to get rid of Pokemon. Let's see, Star Wars. And hopefully we can get rid of that guy. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we'll do another import, and then see what that looks like. Import STL, stereolithography. Let me try that again. Import stereolithography. Okay, then I want to go up a level. I don't want to be in the Star Wars directory. And there's my Andre STL. And then I'm going to import that. So now I want to rotate around and kind of see what that looks like in a different program. Okay, and let's see. And, so I could have made those holes perfect, but this is just playing around. I told her to make that circle 5 points, but it could have been more circular. Okay, so let's go and just a little bit, and let's see if there is a view. Probably the only problem with any program was getting used to all of the let's see if I can scale it. Okay, so if I come in here, yeah, okay, scale it up, and let's see. Again, like anything, it's let's try this doing bringing this down and bringing this in. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, do the rotate again, and I should be able to rotate around different axes and see what it looks like if I was to print that. So one way is to kind of take a glob, a circular pattern, and then kind of make it what you want. And then another one is to take geometric objects. And so we looked at the Blender program, we looked at the Cura program. That's what got us to export that. And then so now let me take the Pikachu and get rid of it out of Cura. And then let's import into Cura because Cura is going to give us our G code. And we'll probably, let's see, can we go to Blender and generate G code? File, export. If we can generate G code, I don't see anything so that's the reason why you need multiple programs, is to be able to import and export what we need. So we're going to go into Cura, because I know Cura can import open a file, 3D print, and we want the Andre 9, which is an STL, so we can open that. Okay, hopefully it is importing, or did import, so it says it's there. Okay, and let's cancel. Maybe I shrunk it too small. But that's one of the things, is trying to figure out what works with the printer, what works with the Cura, what file types you can use. Let's go back and let's see, hit our screen to focus, and then go back to our kind of see what it would look like on a 3D print. Okay. We are looking pretty good. You can see that those beds are building up quite nicely. Yeah, instead of printing one at a time, I could have finished one probably now, but this is actually better because it's one continuous print, and you can see that it's dealing each one and then going. These are called layers. So it's generating, it's doing a layer, and then as it's doing a layer, it moves over and works on another of the pawns, and then I'm printing 8 of the pawns at a time. And then with the piece you see moving is called the print head, and that's a heated print head. And then back here is a spool And I got to keep this from tangling up. If this gets tangled, it'll get bent in here. And that's, I had another print, but it was a 3-hour. And what it was doing is that basically getting tangled, and I was asleep. And hopefully that should keep it from tangling, at least for another hour or two. And then that's fed through a device that's in the back here. See if I can get to it. Probably not. And that's called the, you have to feed that through, and that's called the extruder. And then that extruder is heated to 200 degrees. That's quite hot, so you never touch that. You never touch the base plate. But it keeps the base plate at about 60 degrees, as much close to it as it can. It's measuring it and then applying heat to keep this thing warm up until it finishes. Then, so once it has completed, the extruder will extract and go over to the top, and then tell me that the file is done, and tell me exactly how many minutes it took to print this. So that's basically, you've seen the whole process. Only thing we didn't probably do is to copy that file to I've got a little drive, and that drive, okay, is an SD card. And so that SD card, I put the files there, and take that SD card and put it in the back. There's a little slot there for the SD card, and what's sticking out is the one that comes with the printer. So I'm basically using that black one, and this is going pretty good. That means that we're going to have some really nice pieces. I don't see what they call stringing, and so this is a imperfect print again because my filament got tangled, and by the time I poured it, it was like probably an hour later, and it was just going back and forth up in the air, and then trying to lay down filament, and no filament was coming out. So basically, it creates a little plate that the object sits on, and from there, it's drawing the actual object. And this actually sat on top of there. I snapped this off just to see if it would come off, and it does. And then, but you got to break this from the actual circular plate that's in there. And I got to use like a little paint scraper to do that. So I've got so far uh, two objects that I'm able to print. And I'll just kind of just tape this back and I'm going to set it back there. So this one was a partial print. I'm going to hold on to it because it's a pretty good example of what not to do. Sometimes you need to remind yourself of what to do when things go wrong, and that's one of them. So it's like a learning tool. So this is Brother Coulter. I'm with Mount Sinai. With GrayBoxx Technologies in association with Mount Sinai, and we've been working on a 3D print. So we're going to come back and do another part to this, to when we got the actual 3D print all done and it's actually finished. So we're going to stop for now. And the last one more quick look to make sure everything is looking okay, which it is. So we're going to leave it alone. There's no crinking in the filament, and like it's still extruding because it's still growing. I don't see any gaps. So we're going to stop and check this video out.